This video captures a tense and emotional sentencing hearing involving Ambrosio Cabrera, a case centered on the possession and distribution of child sexual abuse material. From the very beginning, the atmosphere is serious, as the court examines the actions of the defendant and the impact of those actions on innocent victims. The defense presents a more sympathetic perspective, describing Cabrera as someone who made a poor decision and later felt deep regret, while also pointing to his personal struggles and lack of guidance. At the same time, the prosecution strongly pushes back, stressing the gravity of the offense and making it clear that these are not harmless actions. They highlight how such material involves real victims and that every instance of viewing or sharing contributes to ongoing harm. As both sides present their arguments, the tension builds, showing the stark contrast between seeking leniency and demanding accountability. As the hearing progresses, the focus shifts to responsibility, consequences, and the seriousness of the crime. The judge listens carefully, considering all aspects before delivering a firm and decisive ruling. The final decision reflects the weight of the case, sending a strong message that such actions carry severe consequences and will be treated with the utmost seriousness.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI report? State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense? Any objections?
No objection.
No, Judge.
All right, State, do you have any witnesses?
State has no witnesses.
Defense?
Yes, Judge.
Any witnesses?
You do.
All right, call your first.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record, please.
Laura Garcia.
All right, you may proceed.
Ms. Garcia, tell the judge how you know Ambrosio.
Ambrosio is my son.
Okay, and you know that he has applied for probation. But the state's opposed to that application, and you're here to ask the judge to grant that probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what would you like her to know about Ambrosio?
That he stands that he did wrong and that he's willing to get the help he needs and take whatever proceedings the judge asks of him.
All right, I'm sorry. If we could go off the record for a moment. So when I'm reviewing the TAP evaluation in the pre-sentence investigation report, it has attached to it as a plea bargain agreement, a cap of 5 years. I don't think that belongs with this.
No, Judge.
No, Judge, that's not it.
So with regards to the plea bargain page that's attached to the pre-sentence investigation report, do both parties agree that that is incorrect?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So according to the plea bargaining agreement, in this case, what the court has is you all have agreed to a cap of 10 in the prison. There's a $5,000 fine. The state is opposed to the application for deferred adjudication. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry for interrupting. You may proceed, counsel.
How do you think this happened with Ambrosio?
He just happens to do wrong, and best thing I can say is that he was in the wrong side at the wrong time, and I guess he just caught up to him.
When we spoke beforehand, you had said something about you believe that curiosity was involved.
Yes.
Okay. And we think that got the better of him at that time.
Yes, he did.
And are you willing to support him, help him in any way you can if the judge was to grant him probation?
Yes, sir.
Ambrosio did have a job when he was arrested, is that right?
Yes.
And he had that job, I think, either right before or right after graduating high school, is that right?
Yes.
And of course, he lost that employment as part of his, after he got arrested.
Yes.
Are you concerned about if the judge is to grant him probation, are you concerned about him being able to get a job and pay this $5,000 fine that they're asking for?
Money wise, yes. The job, I know he could get a job.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. I don't know, Ms. Brown.
All right. Any questions?
Just very briefly. And it's Ms. Garcia.
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna ask you a couple of questions. Do you understand the charges that your son has pled to?
Yes.
And you understand this wasn't just one image or just accessing a website. This was him actually possessing multiple images of child pornography. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you think it's important that he takes full accountability and doesn't diminish what he did?
Yes.
That's the next one.
Any further judges?
All right, thank you so much for coming in and giving me some insight into it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses, counsel?
Mr. Cabrera.
Sir? Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Ambrosio Cabrera.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
Ambrosio, did you graduated high school, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and where did you used to work?
Right before my arrest, I worked at a place called Baird Foundation Repair,
And what
but I
kind
had some other jobs for that.
and had you ever had trouble finding a job before that?
There have been instances, but I got a job at the end of it.
I think in the PSI, there was a reference to the officer who did your interview asking why you hadn't sought any kind of treatment. And you and I talked about that. What would you like the judge to know about why that hadn't commenced or why you hadn't received that?
Judge, when probation officer asked me why I hadn't received treatment, I told him that treatment, psychiatric help costs money, and ashamed as I am, I was afraid to even leave my house to go to the front yard to even take out the trash. And
We'll tell the judge why you felt that was.
I was ashamed, ashamed for my actions, and my neighbors, they saw everything and saw that my house was, they did I had a search warrant for my house, and I was ashamed to have my neighbors see me. But regarding not getting treatment costs money, and it's even harder for me to even ask for a job.
That because they're gonna see your background. Is that what you mean?
That they would see my background from the background check, that afraid for my safety, that perhaps coworkers might find out about.
As the hearing comes to a close, the weight of the situation becomes impossible to ignore. This case is a stark reminder that actions, especially those involving harm to vulnerable individuals, carry serious and lasting consequences. The decision delivered reflects not only the facts of the case but also a broader message about responsibility, accountability, and the real impact behind such crimes. It also highlights how every action has a ripple effect, reaching far beyond the individual involved. The harm caused is not temporary, it affects real people and leaves lasting scars. In the end, this moment serves as a sobering conclusion, reinforcing that choices matter, and the consequences that follow are often far greater than expected.